set. We're skipping the countdown this time. Skipping it. We'll see how ready the people really are out there. Coming to you live from We the People Podcast Network. I want to welcome you to this week's Politically Correcting Podcast. My co-host, Lavelle Lewis.
Cheer.
Austin on the ones and twos.
Hello.
Everyone get your drinks out. Let's toast to the ability for us to be able to have a drink with another person, have open and honest dialogue, and being able to walk away still being friends. Salud. Look at that cup.
Am I a person though? I don't know. Am I a person?
As opposed to?
I don't know. Maybe a tree or something. Just feeling frisky today. If I can change what I am right now.
I wish you would change your clothes before you came on.
Fuck that, bro.
What do you identify as?
We're jumping right into this.
I don't
Right
know.
into what you identify as.
Yeah, well, he's the one questioning.
I think I'm a male.
Hey.
I think, but I don't know, man.
Hey, you know,
Highly debatable.
It's debatable right now.
In this day and age, I'm not even sure you can say that.
What is
I-
a cat?
He's gonna have us bringing in a little litter box in the corner, like they make the schools bring for the kids.
I think that's a
Yo.
myth.
Do you really think so?
I do. Oh, 100%. That's because they're health codes. There's no way. It's illegal. It's illegal.
It's illegal to bring a cat.
It's illegal to have human feces like exposed like that.
Yeah. How are they gonna pull it
But
off?
you're assuming that the person thinks it's human feces.
Yeah.
What if it identifies as
legally it's human feces.
legally?
Yeah. You know what?
Oh, but if
Yeah.
I can say that I am now a cat, like who are
There's
you
no
to tell me?
there would have been there's too many layers that would have to go through. Someone would have had to install it or whatever. And there's no way.
Who's cleaning it?
You're right. And there's no way.
'Cause-
Listen, I know people who clean up schools and stuff. They're not cleaning up the litter box. They're not
Yo,
going to do it.
Litter boxes is that's a job no one wants.
we're gonna get into the verse of the week. Litter box cleaner job. Jeremiah 29:11. I think that this one's going to be a very positive one for those of you out there who are feeling like there's so much going on in the world right now, and so much going on in the country, especially with the midterm elections coming up and just being bombarded with disinformation and campaign commercials and just everything. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Everything that you think inside your thoughts, that's your own personal thoughts. And there are externalities that may come into be a factor when you're watching the news, when you're watching TV, when you're scrolling through social media, when you're on TikTok, when you're listening to friends, when you're having some drinks with your friends. It's just there's so many things out there that can instill negative thoughts into you. It is your job to block that out. It's your job to know that there is peace and tranquility and the love and the grace that is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I pray for everyone. I pray for the city because I pray for our city and our country, but I always pray for our city to just act individually with love. Let's get into this. Let's get into so for those of you out there who may not know this, I don't tell Lavelle anything of what we're going to discuss because I like to get his genuine feedback, genuine thoughts about things that we do discuss, especially when it comes to, current events. Sometimes, he'll send me something like in an Instagram or on TikTok or in a text message. And I'm like, damn, I was going to talk about that. So one thing, we're going to go over the current events and then we're going to get into what gerrymandering is. All right. Because right now there's this whole big old stink in the county legislature about gerrymandering and it being racist. And we'll get into that. Let's get into the first thing, which is always our daily COVID update. If we can talk about the COVID emergency. Did you know?
What the fuck?
Watch your language, please, sir. Did you know that the U.S. extended COVID public health emergency? Do you remember? I distinctly recall when Biden, it was President Biden, sorry, just like a couple of weeks ago when he said the pandemic was over, that people were walking around without masks and we were good. Like people are learning to live with it.
That was on
And
60 Minutes.
That was on 60 Minutes. This was not like a far right
No.
conspiracy website. This was on national television.
National TV.
President Biden
Right
said
after the football
pandemic's
game.
over. Right. Yet, can you give me one reason that is that has nothing to do with power or money that we would sit here and extend a COVID public health emergency? Because if you scroll down a little bit more on that, so I can read the article there, because it says the powers activated by the emergency declaration have had a vast impact on the health care system and social safety net. Okay, I don't understand how that has a positive impact, because as we see now, our emergency rooms are still backed up. People can't get the healthcare that they need because there's just not enough nurses and doctors. I'm not going to say I wonder why. I know exactly why, because they got rid of a crap ton of people because they refused to get the vaccine, which we have now seen through massive amount of evidence that it just wasn't everything they said it was. So can you think of any other reason why the U.S. would extend it? Because obviously President Biden and his declarations means nothing, because it's always his team behind that comes up and says, oh, that's not what he meant. He didn't mean that. We're going to go ahead and say what he really meant was, and then they come out with this. Like he said it was over and they came back and said, it's not over. We're going to go ahead and extend emergency power. So number two questions then. Is President Biden really in control? Because to me, it doesn't seem like it. Number two, can you think of anything that I'm not thinking of? Or can the people who are watching think of any reason why the U.S. government would extend COVID emergency powers? Because I can't think of it.
Well, you said the first two lines that you eliminated outside of power and money and control or whatever. Like, what other reasons are there? Bro, there's no excuse for this right now, man. I know people who got the vid 3 times, bro, and they not worried no more. They all pissed that they took the jab. Which, I mean, let's go back to the jab, bro, because they didn't Pfizer say, yo, we knew that it wasn't gonna protect you from the vid anyway. So
allegedly,
I'm right. It's funny because our guest last week, the person that he was with, because we don't want to say who it was, because it was a very contentious podcast. She couldn't hear the buttons that we were pressing because she didn't have headphones on. But you're absolutely right. What they told us, and then they came out and said, "Oh, we're going to take 75 years to give out the data."
Yeah. But what about also with any pandemic? Like after a while, like herd immunity, is that no longer a thing? I mean, I would assume herd immunity done pretty came and gone. This is 2 years ago, bro. Like we still talking about this, man?
I don't see why. So we're going to stop talking about it today, but I'm not letting it go.
No, you can't, because there's still people wearing masks, bro. Like, yo, is that still?
And again, I can't elaborate on this enough. They told you the only reason why you would be wearing a mask is because you're showing symptoms.
Yeah.
It's to prevent yourself from spreading it.
Right.
So if you're wearing a mask, it's only because you think you have COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Let's get into the daily absurdity. The Virginia trans law here.
What?
So this Latinx Democrat here wants to introduce a bill to prosecute parents who refuse to treat child as opposite sex.
Wow.
You know how many times it's been brought to me that we need to prosecute parents for, 12-year-olds being out there at 4:00 in the morning, stealing cars at gunpoint, that are running people over. Like it constantly gets brought up. We need to go after the parents because we can't go after the kids. And we see now that these drug dealers and these gangs are recruiting these kids younger because they know that if they get that child to do what they want them to do, that they won't get in trouble. And that 13-year-old isn't going to get in trouble. They're going to get taken home, like that 14-year-old who shot the 16-year-old with a shotgun and they got sent home.
Yeah. I mean, outside of, putting the kids to sleep, what do they do when you have a, uncontrollable pit bull?
Put it down.
Put it, no, they don't put it down, but if you're a pit bull, bite someone and you don't have a permit or something, you are responsible for what that animal does outside of your,
Absolutely, because it's your
it's
responsibility.
your responsibility. So not to kind of compare the two, but we can kind of see, how or why they brought that rule or law up. So, I mean, if you don't know what the fuck your kid is doing at 2:00 in the morning, they're 12, 13, 14, that's on you. That's on you, bro. That's on you. So how do you, first of all, how do you even have the conversation of accountability anyway today? You know what I mean?
They only want to show accountability when it pertains to what they want to push.
But who are they to introduce a bill that will prosecute that, but they will never, ever, ever find a way to prosecute who's responsible for what these kids do within the streets?
Or the vehicle that ran over somebody or had a
Yeah.
DWI and they ran into a fire hydrant and then just left the vehicle and ran away. And then when the police went to the vehicle owner, and they wake up hammered and hungover, like, hey, your Lamborghini is stuck over there on East Avenue
Mhm.
on a fire hydrant. Oh, I wasn't driving. Like that's. I mean,
yeah, right.
You got to see that this is a slippery slope. If we're going to go ahead and prosecute parents who refuse to treat child as opposite
That's
sex, we're
sick, man.
gonna prosecute parents. We not only took away their capability of disciplining their kids in a way that is, a lot of people would say is beating your child, but I would say spare the rod, spoil the child. And I think that we're seeing right now is a lot of kids just doing whatever they want because they're not they weren't treated the way I was treated. I
Right.
got my butt whooped, and I wouldn't say that it was, child abuse. I would say I learned real quick.
Learn real quick.
I learned real quick not to do it again. And
Mhm.
it's not like I have scars or even emotional scars for the rest of my life. I just knew that I did something wrong. I was immediately held accountable. My parents came into the room after they whooped my butt and I'm done crying. And they said, do you know why I did this? Do you understand that I can't allow you to do this anymore? And this is the way I'm going to stop you from wanting to do it again, from even thinking about doing it again. And I hope that you learned from this so that I don't have to do this again, because I, as a parent, love you and I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to spank you.
Mhm.
Hey, that was just the way I was raised. I think a lot of people of my age were raised that way. And I don't think we're as crazy as introducing legislation to to prosecute parents for.
Well, you can tell that there is, I mean, a lot of folks who follow that Christian faith and the religious faith. When you see stuff like this, man, this is definitely an attack at the nuclear family, number one.
Mhm.
Two, this is definitely not promoting procreation, precreation. Like no one's fucking saying, yo, we want to have families come together and make more babies. This is not saying come together and make more babies. This is literally saying we're going to have the guys cut their meat off and then have, females just say, you know what, I want to be a guy.
Have hysterectomies.
And yeah, right. It can no longer have kids. Like you'll never be able to grow a wang. You'll never be able to freaking make a vagina that bleeds every month and have babies out of it. So therefore, no matter what, the facts don't lie. And let's trust the science. Bro, you're not a woman. You're not a man. I'm sorry. The chromosomes just do what they do.
And this is a direct attack to conservative parents.
Oh yeah,
because this isn't against
absolutely
liberal parents.
Absolutely, this
is biblical families who go to church and say, you know what, I understand you think that you're a boy right now or you think you're a girl right now. Let's wait it out.
Yeah,
let's wait it out. Let's see what happens. Hey, yeah. I'll love you regardless, but let's wait it out because you are 8 years old.
Yeah,
you don't know what you want with the rest of your life, and you're gonna have your heart broken by 10 more people. Let's wait it out.
This is a spiritual war, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
100% spiritual war.
Kanye said it.
Mm-hmm.
New York speed limit. You see what they're doing to our cars now? So New York State has started limiting cars' speed. So they're implanting technology in your vehicle to stop you from being able to go faster than a certain miles per hour in certain areas.
Yeah, this is crazy. Where did this come from? What article is this?
This is from Buffalo News.
So they want to. Damn, New York State is going to be a fucking ghost town, bro. This probably will be the first state with self-driving cars because this is what this is.
That's
pretty
exactly
much.
where that's going to
Yeah.
go.
That's
I mean,
what they want next.
And again, some people are going to like, good, it's going to reduce the amount of people who are going to get killed. Okay, I get that. I don't buy a Corvette to go 35 miles an hour, right?
Right.
Simple as that. So what are we really doing here? How many more people do you want to drive out of this state? Because we're not doing well.
No, not with these types of measures. And I mean, if any state was gonna try and be some new groundbreaking artificial intelligence ran state, it was gonna be this one because we got a whole bunch of political sellouts that will sell us for anything, for any dollar.
For real, this might be this might be a company behind it saying, hey, let's do this, and then let's bring in these electric cars that can drive themselves, and therefore there's not going to be any issue about going faster than the speed limit because they can't. Once they know that sign, it automatically reads 35 miles an hour, it goes 35 miles an hour or less, and it sees a 25 mile an hour in a school zone, which you shouldn't be speeding. It goes that percentage. It's just,
that's crazy, bro. You know what? I wonder how much money like the tech giants invest into, liberal campaigns and
you can't see it.
Yeah.
You can't imagine. You can't even imagine how
crazy.
much, because they can be doing things that has nothing to do with putting money into their actual campaign.
Yeah. And you gotta like kind of, I mean, hopefully people wake up to this shit. But when you look at a lot of these campaign ads, especially coming from the left, everything is about fear and they're gonna come
extremism.
Extremism and racism and
guns killing little
he's
kids.
supporting.
Yeah.
He wants to control your body.
It's all about control. It seems like it's all about control,
man.
and how they get control is to make you afraid.
Yeah, bro.
All the time. And I see it on city council all the time. They always say, this is a crisis. This is a crisis. The PAB thing is a crisis. I'm like, it's not no crisis. It's not impacting me.
Right.
Did the PAB thing impact you? How many people are losing on the PAB? Did it impact you?
Listen,
Austin, did it impact you? Then it's not a crisis.
It's not a crisis, no. And you motherfuckers should
I'm
listen.
so impacted.
They should have listened to the beginning. We told you not to fucking do it anyway.
Well, I mean, the people did tell them to do it.
No. There was a huge push saying, yo, this is not a good idea.
Lorraine says they don't want us to own cars. You might be right.
That's scary, bro. That's scary. Communism is
She also
real.
said, hey, Joe. I don't know who Joe is.
Who is Joe?
I don't know. I hope she missed the F.
Somebody probably on the
unless she's talking about Joe Biden, which is in our next article here. Joe Biden talking about the economy. What do you think, without looking at this screen, if you were to ask Joe about the economy right now, what do you think? What do you think their correct answer should be? How do you think the economy is doing?
Oh, the economy's not doing well at all. There's a lot of things we gotta worry about, like high gas prices, inflation, a lot of those things. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a very straightforward, honest answer.
Yeah, it's definitely not booming.
Let's bring up what this Jabroni said while he's munching on his ice cream.
Strong as hell.
Strong as hell. Remember that. Strong as hell. Insists the U.S. economy is strong as hell as he munches. Okay, that last part was that didn't need to be added.
It's a good shot.
This is from the New York Post, so I mean they do have some kind of biasness to it.
Hey, so what? Send them shots because the left do it all the time. You either crazy,
my God, right?
At least they're not calling him a racist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which they should be, because he has every reason to be called that.
I mean, come on.
The article says President Joe Biden apparently got brain freeze during a pit stop at an Oregon ice cream parlor over the weekend and forgot about the millions of Americans suffering financially when asked about the economy. I can agree. There are so many people right now who are suffering. and it's not getting any better. And you can listen to every like financial related podcast, real estate related podcast, the stock market related podcasts. I listen to them all the time because I'm always trying to gather information for this podcast, and it's not going
It's
to
not
get
good, yeah.
any better.
Yeah,
There is nothing that's going to make it better. You can't have. It's not going to get any better. It's as simple as that. The inflation rate is so high that the rate of return on, if you want to invest your money in a bond, let's say, it has to be higher than the rate of inflation.
Right.
And it's not even close.
Right.
So if you're investing in a bond right now and it's paying, let's say, 6%, and inflation rate is allegedly 8 point whatever percent, you would have to raise the rate to catch up to the inflation rate, or else why would I invest in a bond that's going to pay me 6% when the inflation is hitting me at 8%? Right. I'm losing money. So
bludgeoning money.
Right. So interest rates are going to continue to go higher.
And do you want me to pay you more as an employee? Like, I got to pay you more because it's a fucking feel-good moment and I'm bludgeoning my profits and this is my company. This is the shit that I created. I brought you motherfuckers along for the ride. Like,
I still have, I swear to you, and I surround myself with liberals so I can understand what they're saying out loud, so I can be like, and I have arguments at least, 3 times a week. And I'm like, can you do me a favor and just not watch your news for a minute? Because I do that. I will stop watching what I watch and I will forcefully watch obviously left-leaning news. So I can see, okay, show me what it is that I don't want to say the other side, but the people who are insane at this point, what they're being told. Because what I see is a president that can't put together a sentence, that is obviously showing signs of dementia. Obviously. When you forget that a person is dead, when you and ask about them,
where is she?
When you forget how your own son died.
Yeah, that's bad, bro.
When you are literally stuck in a position and don't move.
Bro, there was a glitch in the matrix, man.
When you're trying to figure out where to go and people are telling you to go this way and you literally just walk off on your own. I'm not making fun of the man. I'm seriously concerned about the top position in our country being held by a man who has early onset dementia. It's scary to think that someone like that is running this country.
It's not that early onset. He's pretty old.
Yes.
That's not nice.
It's already in the bag.
I forced myself to watch MSNBC. I'm just gonna say it. MSNBC. It's just they're just so, and CNN. I can't
Can you
do
watch
it for very
a full
long.
show of Rachel Maddow?
I forced myself to watch like 3 different people, listen to them, because there's Rachel, there's Donnie Lemon, and there's one guy who actually got axed because he doesn't have very good ratings. They won't show any of that about, number one, Joe Biden. They won't show it. They will show not a single part of him messing up or doing anything where he just loses track of what he's trying to say.
Could you imagine if this was Trump, bro? They will be on, like, they said some real nasty
Trump
stuff.
Drink
bro.
his water with 2 hands.
Yeah.
And they said he had early onset dementia.
Yeah.
They wanted to invoke the what? 25th Amendment? Is it called?
Yeah, they were trying to find anyway.
They wanted to impeach the man because they thought he was mentally incapacitated simply because he drank his water with 2 hands. Come on, man. Go back.
Bro.
He also walked, what was it, down a ramp slowly. And he was like, it was raining. Like, what? It was raining. Why are you on my ass about this? This is what this is what bothers me so much, is the hypocrisy. That's all. Like, trust me, I threw daggers at freaking President Trump. Oh man, daggers. But this man has early onset dementia. I don't know what's worse, that or what's coming up behind him or what's coming up behind her. I think it's just a train of, I don't want any of them.
Yeah.
But I forced myself to watch CNN, MSNBC. I swear to you, what they do is they just don't talk about it.
Yeah, Joe Scarborough used to be a conservative, and then they changed him. Like,
Whoever pays the bills, man. That's all that matters.
man.
Whoever pays the
Gotta pay
bills.
that bill, man.
But I implore people who are out there who watch a certain, like, there's people who only watch Fox News.
Mm.
I implore you to watch MSNBC, CNN, and see what it is that the other side is learning, so that you can have a conversation and say, look, I understand that you believe that we are using immigrants as a political tool and that it is wrong, because I can understand that, because I've seen in a news article where they interviewed a guy and he was very upset at Governor DeSantis for taking him to the most beautiful island in the world where everyone has mansions and President Obama can throw a 300-person party in a single tent, but they couldn't find that tent when it came down to 50 people showing up for work.
How dope is this country, right? That we can elect a black dude and a black family, and then they retire, bro.
Mhm.
Then they're able to
On the water.
buy a house
on the water
and have a big ass extravaganza with Jay-Z
During COVID.
Beyonce during COVID, right? Bro, this country is dope. This is a dope ass country.
Last one before we get into gerrymandering here. Mayor Pete. This guy, I can't get enough of this guy, because I know he's going to run for president. I know the Democrats are going to say, hey, Mayor Pete, obviously Democrats don't want President Biden to run again. This is based on numbers.
I gotta see this dude, man, because I still don't know who.
Mayor Pete is on the labor numbers here. So Mayor Pete says,
oh, this fucking dude. This dude's a nut job.
He calls employment numbers strong as hell. What did Biden say before?
Oh, he said the same
The
thing.
economy is strong as hell.
Yeah. Wow.
Seems like they have a pretty.
That kind of came
strong
out
as
just
hell.
the same way, like when fake news became fake news, bro. Like they just find
Right.
one word and then they just send it out there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? The one word that fucking, when you're having a conversation with somebody that is far left wing, narrative. They love that word. Narrative. They use that when they're going good, when they're
Russian disinformation.
Yes.
Russian
you're
disinformation.
trying to change the narrative.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I guess.
Well, he says that the employment numbers are strong as hell. Well, to the right, I went to look, and I had to. Oh man, you don't understand how much work I put into finding these freaking articles for this podcast. I had to dig so freaking far just to find labor force statistics from the current population. These are people who are actually looking for work, right? Because there is the unemployment, which is just people who can't work, right? Or who aren't working. There's people who are working, getting paid. And then there's a whole nother group of people who are they left the employment arena. They said, I just don't want to work anymore. No, maybe they might want to start their own business.
Yeah.
That might be it. Or I'm just going to leave the country and
do deliveries.
I'm going to do
Lyft, you
Uber.
know what I mean, I'm gonna make my money on the side.
Not to diverge a little bit further off this conversation here, but the other night was my first time taking Uber in a very long time because they required you to wear a mask, and I refused to wear a mask. Right. These vehicles were the most disgusting vehicles I've been in. It was disturbingly gross. I was going to a gala.
Oh,
a gala. I was in a. Well, I was dressed to the nines.
You know what they want to do? Before I cut you off, they want you to utilize the higher up, right? So that way you guarantee. What I said. Yes, you guarantee
exactly what I said.
A good ride. Because if you just do regular Uber trying to save, you're gonna be in a car where Ray just dropped somebody off. He smoked the L.
The baby
picking you
back.
up, right? Yo, I was in a car, and I listen. I don't even talk down on folks like that because they're making money. You gotta start. Right. You gotta make it start. But you gotta understand service though, bro. Right. Presentation. You know what I mean? It's all about
they used to give you bottled water.
Yeah.
They used to, hey, you need some gum, you need some mint.
Yeah.
It'd be like going to the men's bathroom at the club.
Yeah, that's
You
a
know,
little
they'll
too
spray
much.
they'll spray the soap in your hand for you to give you a little paper towel.
Right, writers don't
Nope.
respect that though, bro. Writers don't respect that.
That might be one of the issues. Either way,
Yeah.
those are the amount of people who are currently in the workforce. Look at that graph. This is a graph since 2016. I didn't edit this graph. And look, if you scroll up, please. This is from the, Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is mad squeaky.
63 what million?
What are you looking at here? Sorry, everything on our screen is Jose size. 63%. So that's percent, right?
Okay.
And those are the dates, the years at the bottom.
Mm.
So you see that it was level around at, close to 63%. During President Trump, it was higher. And he bragged about that. He was very proud of the fact that that Black and brown community had the lowest unemployment rate ever. The graph shows it. I agree with it. And then COVID hit, boom. And look where we are. We're not even to 2016 numbers. We are literally not even to the numbers that came right after,
Yeah.
We're not even there. But they want to say it's strong as hell. They want to say employment is strong as hell.
Are those numbers similar to like 09 when the housing crisis hit?
I would love to see a graph that's overlaid over, is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, because I kind of think, I mean, what they say, it's the economy, stupid. Yeah, I think that COVID shit, man, was a cover up for what they already knew was going to happen, because there was so much money that switched when COVID came through, and so many people lost their jobs. So a lot of these companies didn't have that same level of payroll that they didn't have before. They got a whole lot of fucking government.
They don't
money.
have the same level of revenue.
No, but they got a whole bunch of government money. There was a huge bailout all across the board. That's kind of similar. You didn't give it to the banks this time. This time you gave it to the hospitals. And
a lot of
them. And then they also laid off more people.
Well,
so what if there was a bubble there that we didn't know about?
Well, let me tell you from a business perspective what happened when there was some PPP money that came to, my business. My business was Players Own. We are literally on the verge of we're closing doors. We just couldn't keep up because the money that we did receive, it was bad because we opened up the month before COVID hit. So opening in 2020, and they were giving out money for people who were in 2019. We didn't have a tax return from 2019. So we weren't really helped. When we finally were able to get some help, the money that we had to go back to paying back our rent because we owed that rent. Like the landlord literally changed the locks on us while we were shut down because of Cuomo. Changed the locks on us. And the man owed us $30,000. First of all, let me just put that out there. Man, the landlord owed us $30,000. He promised us. He never paid us.
Right.
A lot of people out there, let's say a lot of restaurants, when they were finally, oh my God, I have PTSD, dude. I don't think you understand this. My wife, who, does eyelashes, eyebrows, I Crave Beauty Lounge, shout out to Edna Perez. She was not only shut down, but it was where we were watching the Andrew Cuomo show every day, because at that time they're saying, oh, maybe we might be able to open up now. Maybe we might be able to open up this week, depending on the numbers. And so we were watching it every day. And she's like sitting there like, let me open up every day. It was the saddest thing in the world to watch when New York State said, New York State. Who was it? I think it was the federal government. I think it was Trump that said, open up. Like, it's time to open up. We need to learn to deal with this. We need to learn to live with this. And Andrew Cuomo said no.
Yeah.
And then it went from Andrew Cuomo saying, yeah, we can open up, to Adam Bello saying, these are the rules to opening up. And we can't open up quite yet. Schools are open. Not yet. Hold on. I'm Adam Bello. I make the decisions in Monroe County. So there was so many businesses that were shut down for what they said was supposed to be 2 weeks. What they said was supposed to be 2 months. It was 4 months. Let's not kid ourselves. It was 4 months of shutdown. And then it was week by week. We'll see what the numbers look like. And it was just, oh man, I'm still traumatized by that, because my business was waiting on that. Her business was waiting on that. Everybody.
It was a shot to small business owners, bro. The little people. And they're still trying to squeeze them out. They're still trying to fucking squeeze the little
While
person out.
I can go to Dairy Queen
Yeah.
drive-through and get freaking fast food. I can go to McDonald's. I can go to Wendy's. I can go to the liquor store.
Go to Taco Bell,
I can go
bro.
to Taco Bell. I can go to
got the
Walmart.
worst-
I can go to Home Depot. I can go to
Bro.
Lowe's.
Taco Bell has the worst food on the planet, but they were
Yes, we're bad.
pumping. They were
Oh,
pumping out burritos like it was fucking nothing, bro.
I like your accent there.
At 2 a.m,
They're killing it.
Taco Bell's was like,
They're killing it. We know you're getting high at home because you're getting that stimmy money.
getting that stimmy.
Come get your munchie freaking crave going on over here.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about gerrymandering. All right. So, do you understand gerrymandering? Do you know what gerrymandering is?
Nope.
Well, I shouldn't start with gerrymandering. Redistricting. So
Yes.
the census comes out
Mhm.
and it shows that certain areas grew, certain areas, got less people. Our county, people moved around, right? So certain
Mhm.
areas had less people, certain areas got more. They have to redistrict it so that it can show that we're kind of having similar sized districts. The negative thing is they call it gerrymandering, where they create lines to try and keep in as many Democrats in one area, or for Republicans trying to keep in as many Republicans in one area. Can you scroll up a little bit more, please? Both sides do it. It's not just Republicans. The Democrats right now are doing it because Democrats are in control. Let's be completely honest here. That is what's happening. No other way. And what they're doing right now. Actually, you know what? Let's do the faith leaders video first, because I want to get your perspective on this. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to create districts that are specifically filled with Black people, right? And we'll go over the history of redistricting and what it's supposed to be, the history of the Voting Rights Act. Go through all that. Do we have the faith leaders there?
We stand united, unlike the Democratic Party right now, which is really embarrassing. I just think that it's astounding that 50 plus years after the death of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, that we're still having to fight this fight. We're still having to fight. And the thing about it is, we're having to fight it not against the Republicans, but against our own Democrats.
You hear that part? Our own Democrats.
Confusing. I am confused.
The Democratic Party, up until now, has always been seen as an allied party to Black voters and voters of color communities.
It's locally here,
Do you
right?
agree with that?
Protecting our constitutional rights.
She's
Well, we
misinformed.
urge them to return to that practice and return
It
now.
gets
Poor thing.
But if you free up these districts, I think you're going to see better voter turnout. And I think you're going to see a better spirit in us of what
they
that
look
vote
like
means.
Charleston White.
Well, this is really no different than what happened during white flight in the 70s with redlining. That was banking redlining. This is political redlining.
They want our Black vote diluted. And we say no more, no sir, and no ma'am.
Black communities are legally entitled to have their own specific minority electoral district. And this district isn't called effective Black districts. It's called the Black Majority Voting District.
Is there a difference?
Attempts to confuse voters by saying 6 is better than 5. We recognize that what they are really calling for are minority coalition districts, which are not the 5 Black voting districts that we're asking for.
You go and hire a consultant to take us into court somewhere, and the courts, all they're going to do is just say, hey, you got to go back and solve that. What's wrong
Wish they
with the
did.
5 districts? This satisfies the rule of law according to the Voting Rights Act.
It used to be we had to fight against the conservatism of the Republicans, and we knew where the enemies were. We knew where, now the enemies are in our own bed.
Adam Bello, our great county executive.
Great.
This is for the city of Rochester's best interest, in which you have an oath to safeguard. Therefore, you can't afford to reject the map. and veto it because it's an injustice and it will leave us in grave harm.
And I want to say this to you, Mr. Adam Bello. It was the black vote that brought you in.
Was it? Wow.
And,
Stop right there.
And it seems
You can tell what the rest of this is kind
Smokes.
of like is.
Is that really true? Y'all lined up for Bello?
Let me tell you right now, that is not true because I will tell you the inside info right now about who got Adam Bello in.
Well, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What, because I want to fully understand this argument, because it even got Lovely Warren up, and she even
That wasn't lovely.
no, I know,
Oh.
but she spoke about this before.
Uh-huh.
What is the problem right now? Like what is the fight within that party? Because it is the left that's fighting amongst each other. So what are
Right.
they trying to do?
So there's people that believe that we need to divide the legislative districts based on race. And then there's people who say it's not necessarily right.
That isn't right. So why would you? Damn, bro.
There's more to it. More to it. Let's pull up the packing versus cracking because we need to fully understand
Yeah.
what redistricting entails, what the laws are for and against it, and
Mhm.
what is happening right now. So you saw what the faith leaders came out and said.
Mhm.
They literally said, we want our lines to say the black people all agree with this right here, and we're going to vote for this person.
Yeah, I don't agree with
Packing
that.
versus cracking. This is a PBS.
Fair elections, the cornerstone of American democracy. Psych. Let me tell you why that's a load of malarkey.
You like that word, malarkey?
We've been told over and over again that every vote counts. Like when those cool celebrities tell you to go out and rock the vote. But when it comes to electing your
That was a good video.
representatives, you know, those people that write the laws, there are cases when your vote doesn't really count. And that's no accident. Politicians do it on purpose. It's called gerrymandering, the age-old art of rigging the system. Politicians use population and voting data to create new voting districts so that their party has a better chance of winning the most districts overall. Like in this case, where blue wins 3 out of 5 districts, even though there are fewer blue voters than red voters. Both Democrats and Republicans gerrymander. It's probably the reason why in the 2016 elections, Democrats won 47% of the vote for North Carolina's House seats, but only ended up with 23% of the seats. This isn't just a North Carolina problem. It happens all over the map, and people are starting to get mad.
Gerrymandering has created an absurd reality.
Gerrymandering is vote rigging.
That is voter fraud. That is real voter
Gerrymandering.
fraud.
So what is gerrymandering? And what can we do to stop it? Well, gerrymandering is all kinds of complicated, but it boils down to some of my favorite things: data, geography, and geometry. Every state is split into districts. You've got congressional districts where each district gets 1 rep in the US House of Representatives. Every 10 years, states redraw the district lines to account for people moving and other population changes. There are 2 big rules that govern how we draw district lines. Number 1, districts have to have the same number of people. And number 2, thanks to the Voting Rights Act, districts can't be racist, which means you can't clump all the people of color into one district or spread them out so much that their vote doesn't mean anything. Just to be clear here, racial gerrymandering is not allowed, but political gerrymandering, that's okay. Mathematically, there are like a gazillion ways that you could split a state into districts. Each state has its own process for drawing these lines, and most are done by lawmakers, aka the politicians in power. With the help of computer programs, politicians use population and voter data to make predictions about how different geographical arrangements will likely vote. If they want to guarantee their party stays in power, they can just divide up the districts to squeeze out the other party, pretty much just negating the opposition's votes.
Does that
It's
look
the
like
reason you get
Rochester with
districts that look like a
This
praying
makes-
mantis
now
it
or
makes
an
more
upside down
sense now.
elephant? When this happens,
makes
you can
more
end up with
sense.
districts that are mostly made up of one party. So it's really hard to vote elected officials out of office.
So you see how that
The
looks
opposing
right there,
party
right?
just can't
Yeah.
win.
Where this looks
Time
ridiculous.
for a demonstration. Jerry, bring out the whiteboard. So Jerry's brought out my handy little whiteboard here. But first, let me get my teaching glasses and hat ready for you guys. All right. So, class, what we have here is a city district. These squares represent, we'll say, Republicans, and these circles represent the Democrats. Now, the Democrats want to crack the Republican vote. They would just do it like this. Okay, so you have this little line right here, little line right there, little line like that. And see, what we have here is they've diluted the Republican vote and absorbed it into the Democratic vote. So the Democrats would win each of those districts. That's called cracking. And you also have something that's called packing. Now, packing varies from cracking because with cracking, what we did was we broke it down. Packing, we're gonna clump it in. Maybe do a little something like that, then come back up, and then voila, right? So what we've done is we've sacrificed this one district all for the sake of these other districts. You see what I'm saying? Now you have a greater chance of getting districts all around the one in the middle. So this is what politicians are doing to dilute votes from various communities around the country.
Pause it.
And there you have it. Cracking and packing.
So that's going to dilute the votes if they pack all of the same voters into one area, right? I'm using this videos because they're much better at it. I swear to you, I was on the radio show 2 weeks ago and they brought up this whole thing. And my answer to them was, if you were to walk down the main street of Rochester and ask your normal citizen, do you think the current redistricting process is racist or not? They would have no idea what you're talking about. Do you think we're gerrymandering in a proper way or not? They would have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm using the videos because these are videos that I found to be, well, first of all, the first video was sent to me by Rachel Barnhart with the faith leaders.
Right.
This video was something I was like, all right, I can see how they would want, if you were a believer that all Black people think the same way, I can see how you would want them to be packed in together in the same districts. So I started to look at what are the negative aspects of that and what are the laws and rules regarding how to draw the lines. And that's where I came across this one. And since I saw it was a PBS one, I said, it's a PBS one.
He blatantly said it's completely racist, bro. And then if you're gonna label a group and say that we all Black folks think the same, like, you are completely setting yourself up to be 100% sheeple. And you can herd these folks on any common argument that you want, new election cycle after election cycle. I'm sorry, bro. First of all, when we're talking about, all right, Adam Bello as the county executive of this county, he does not represent every fucking view that I have as an American, as a human being, as a person,
as a Rochesterian.
So therefore, just because I got 5 other, African American folks who think the other way, that pretty much makes me obsolete. I am a nobody. I am nothing. And that completely says that Adam Bello can completely dictate how a group or demographic thinks, believes, or feels, or what they choose to do with their vote. That is the most dangerous thing in politics. You're pretty much a dictator at that point. You are a dictator.
I'm glad that you see that. Let's go to the website.
Bro, I didn't even know what that shit was until you just talked about it now. I had no idea that even existed.
Well, this is what we're here for, right? I forgot to say at the beginning, before we came on, let's change the world.
Oh, gosh.
The actual website, the democracydocket.com one, where it talks about racial gerrymandering versus racial vote dilution. Okay, so let's go through this like a common person who says, okay, I see both sides of it now. Is there something that can make it a little more sense specifically when it comes to race? Because what he was talking about was more of Democrats, Republicans, right? And what the faith leaders were talking about was specifically race. So let's get into that right now. Scroll down to racial gerrymandering. It's a little bit down right there. Can the people see that, or do we need to scroll in?
We can see it.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go through this because I want people to understand it the same way that I understood it. And then you let me know how you feel by leaving comments, because I do go through the comments and I definitely try to respond to everybody. And I'm not saying that I know, I promise you, I don't know everything about redistricting and gerrymandering. What I know is what I've read, and what I know is what I'm seeing on the news, and what I know is what has been sent to me. That's all. So my own investigation brings me to this gerrymandering, right? What is racial gerrymandering claim? When you read through that, it states redistricting, okay? The process of drawing lines within a state to create federal, state, and local electoral districts that reflect the population data derived from the decennial census. So every 10 years, the census can be a fraught process leveraged by bad actors to pass unfair and unconstitutional maps. One way map drawers can manipulate district lines to produce certain electoral outcomes is to use partisanship to sort voters. Another way is to rely on race. The U.S. Constitution protects minority voters from maps that are racially gerrymandered. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 protects minority voters from maps that dilute their voting power. Given the various ways that racially discriminatory maps can be challenged in court, it can be confusing to parse out, right? So we're going to break down the difference. So scroll down to the next bar. You're already there. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was reading more than where you were. I read the introduction to that. So what is racial gerrymandering? What do they claim? A state may not use race as the predominant factor in assigning voters to districts in any federal, state, or local electoral maps unless it has a compelling reason to do so. If the map drawers do use race without any compelling reason, then the relevant districts are deemed racially gerrymandered. Racial gerrymandering claims are rooted in the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, which mandates that a state must treat individuals the same under its laws. The Equal Protection Clause, which we fought for in 1965, is crucial for safeguarding civil liberties and voting rights because it requires states to, quote unquote, govern impartially and not draw distinctions between individuals solely on differences that are irrelevant to a legitimate governmental objective, including race. This was brought up to the Supreme Court, Shaw versus Reno in 1993. You can read that for yourself. We can go down to let's go down to racial vote dilution. So we went with gerrymandering, right? Let's go to racial vote dilution, which is what he was talking about before, where everyone was kind of pretty much packed together based on race, right? Racial vote. Okay, I lost my space there. A racial vote dilution claim is brought against a map when a state's minority voters cannot elect the candidates of their choice, often because the map drawers packed the voters into one district and cracked them. We saw that in the previous video. Crack them was to kind of, put Republicans out of the way, Democrats in the middle, or vice versa, among other districts, in order to weaken or dilute their collective voting power across a state. This means that a vote in one district has less of an impact on the outcome of an election than a vote in another district because of the way districts are drawn, a tactic that can and has been weaponized to minimize the voting strength of minority voters. Section 2 of the VRA, the Voting Rights Act, is designed to protect against this type of race-based vote dilution and can be leveraged against federal, state, or local electoral maps. So let's bring up the map that they are discussing currently, please. This is how they want to break up Monroe County and the city of Rochester. Do you see that big pink fuchsia one in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's very, I don't know. You see all the ones in the top left. You see all the ones in the top right. You see all the ones in the bottom left and the bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
They seem like, all right, they are, breaking up however which way. And then we get to the city of Rochester. Look at the way that they are broken up. You got that big old handle right there. You got that little tiny bluish color in the middle. Got that green one that extends. It's just all over the place. Or is that just me?
So what's the method here? Like, who represents what?, ?
So they're stating right now that this map is racist because they want to put electoral districts that are centered on the black voters. So that, let's say that big hand that looks like this, they would want to break that one up. They would want to bring the yellow one that should be at, the blue one should be at, the other turquoise one should be at, the brown one is fine, the green ones are fine. Like they want to break up that long one and they want to create the map based on race, which when I was asked about it by the county legislator, actually the majority leader, she asked if I can write a letter in support of it. I'll read you my responses because I like to be straightforward and honest with everybody. This was asked of me last night. If I can go ahead, if I could, there were other council members who were in support of it. My direct answer was, I appreciate you reaching out, but I see anything that solely focuses on the color of a person's skin to be the clear definition of racism. So needless to say, I can't be in support of anything that divides people solely based on their skin color. The question was then asked if that was my position on the Voting Rights Act. I don't equate the Voting Rights Act to what they're trying to do right now. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 said you can't base it on race, and you can't force. Back in the day, you can ask people to take a test to make sure that they were capable of voting.
Yeah. Not just to real quick with just the overall argument with voting. Like back when the civil rights happened, like that was just a fucking recreated fucking argument. Like we always, like when we had the right to vote, like African Americans actually had political power and persuasion within,
and they were not fighting the Republican Party.
No, we weren't fighting within the Republican Party. They actually had a huge group that had the ability to actually get shit done, right? And back when the fucking grandfather clause actually first came out, they didn't argue that based off of their color, the color of their skin. They said, yo, if you create these little hurdles for someone to prove whether or not they can vote, that doesn't violate black people. It violates all of our 14th and 15th Amendment rights to place that vote. That's what you're opening it up. So it wasn't an argument to where, all right, we're gonna sit here and act like, okay, we are gonna play victim and we need you, the government, to solve this problem. No, we're gonna solve this for ourselves and litigate and say, yo, you're violating our constitutional rights. So if you violate our constitutional right, you're violating for everyone else. But all they did in 1960 was just highlight the fucking obvious. They just stated the obvious. It says it within the Constitution anyway. So you need to sign a bill amongst just to tell your already racist Democrats to stop beating people up, stop intimidating folks from going to vote, stop trying to, segregate and not allow someone to move within these certain communities. These are things that the left did. These are the things that the Democratic Party did. So they're doing it in a different way now. They're doing it, you know what? All right, let's try and let's make it seem as though you guys are, you're important to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to literally just kind of marginalize you by putting you in a group and stating that, all right, so if this 10 black people all agree on one thing, right? Well, you all just, you don't think for yourselves anyway. So you all agree to this anyway. So let them just fucking make your vote one vote. That's it. That's why you got a seat at the table. As long as there's a Democrat in office, you're good, right? Yo, wake up, people.
A black Democrat.
A black Democrat. Oh, yeah. It has to be that.
Because they literally said that they want their representation.
Yeah, man.
From within their community.
Listen, black Democratic leaders today, I'm sorry, they're all stuck with that victimized mentality. They don't inspire their own people. They're all about saying that somebody took something from them and they're just sitting up at the top getting those checks. And love.
I agree with all of them.
Not okay. The majority that are out here talking and representing,
I would say the people who are speaking up, you're not hearing it from those, because I talk to people and they'll say things behind the scenes that they won't say out loud.
And to those type of people, they have to come out of these fucking shadows, because don't be afraid to take a stand, and then
Right.
you know what I mean. You don't want somebody to come through and put you down and call you a sellout, right? That yo, bro, you know how many times I've been called a sellout just for having an opinion that doesn't align with mainstream black folks and black media and anything that happens black against the black plight.
Welcome to the party.
Oh my gosh, bro! Like
Austin's
crazy.
been treated like that as well.
Sure.
He lost his card as soon as he didn't vote for Biden. He lost.
Oh,
his,
yeah,
he
yeah,
lost
yeah.
it.
Did,
That's
man.
right. That's right, man. I used to be black.
You did, bro.
But
you got a lot of shit work to do, bro.
who, me or him?
You, bro. All those people that you got to work with, man.
It's tough because you got to represent everybody, and that's how I see it.
Everybody, yeah.
I don't see myself as representing this group of people who supported me. I represent everybody, no matter if they supported me or not.
Right.
And I really want to make sure people understand that. So we got through that. Let's talk about Adam Bello's statement, because this is the map that Adam Bello agreed to here. So
I didn't mean it that way.
oh, maybe I didn't. Did I not send it to you?
I didn't mean it that way.
The statement. Hold on, I got it. I just
Yep.
have to
Adam
not
Bello's
what you
press release
think.
there.
see where I put it. There.
No,
it
I
is.
think you'd be surprised here. Oh, dang, I can't read that. All right, hold on. It was a PDF, right? I'm about to pull it up.
Yeah,
Sound
yeah.
Nation.
You send me a PDF.
This is why
pull up
you
on
don't send
screen.
PDFs, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now I know
Let's
from
see.
now on to not do that. Let me get into my thing so
Oh,
I
you
can
can't
read this.
Zoom in with
for
your
everybody.
fingers, so you can't. So,
Well, I have to get into my sent email so I can then look into his media release. There we go. All right.
Get
Give me a second while I
together.
pull this up.
Get your shit together, Jose.
Watch yourself, fool. All right. So this is, let me make sure. Nope. This is the Democratic Caucus one. Let me pull up the other one. I apologize to everyone while they
this
wait
is the
here.
one you sent me.
No, the one that I clicked on was the wrong one. So give me a second. It was a website. Okay. This is from Adam Bello's office. Renowned voting rights experts, Dr. Lisa Hanley and Jeffrey Weiss, today joined Monroe County Executive Adam Bello to weigh in on the problematic redistricting maps under consideration by Monroe County legislation. Now, this was from before. They said the current map under, am I reading the wrong one?
Did you send me one from Bello? Hold on.
All right. So what Bello did, let me tell you what Bello did. The current map under consideration, this is quote unquote, isn't good for our community in general. This was before. And then they came out with this one. Adam Bello was saying that, I believe what he was saying was that if you're basing on race, that it's wrong. Right? Yes, that one right there. The current map under consideration isn't good for our community in general, and is certainly isn't good for the community those promoting this map purport to support, said County Executive Bello. The only people benefiting from this map are those legislators currently supporting it. This is a process that should have been independent, but was not. Instead, the process was guided by self-interest and aimed at confusing the public in order to pursue political goals. The proposed map, supported by Legislature President Sabrina Lamar and Legislator Rachel Barnhart and Republican allies, purports to create 5 majority Black districts. And that's the LDs 22, 25, 27, 28, and 29. If you're in politics, you know what those LDs are. In order to protect voting rights of Black residents of the city of Rochester. Through a meticulous and detailed statistical analysis of historic election data, Dr. Hanley concluded that legislative districts 22, 25, 27, 28, and 29 are already effective Black districts, meaning that Black residents in those legislative districts now and historically have been able to elect their candidates of choice. The Barnhart GOP map takes these 5 already effective Black districts and unconstitutionally packs them with additional Black voters, diluting their voting power. To do this, the map takes one nearly effective Black district, that's LD 21, and guts it of Black voters to create a safe majority white district rather than seeking to make the district more effective. Now that we have an unbiased expert analysis provided by 2 highly credentialed individuals, I believe we must cool down the rhetoric surrounding this process and start over. This was his, that was what he had set up regarding the redistricting where they were packing the black voters into their own districts. And the two highly credentialed individuals, for those of you out there that are watching this, you can pause it right there on your own and read the background of these two, Dr. Lisa Hanley and Jeffrey Weiss. And I would agree with Adam Bello here.
Well, still at the end of the day, it begs the question as to who the fuck do they think that they feel as though if you're black, you're gonna vote their way, and it's gonna stay that way, especially with the climate that's coming about the Democrats and how they've been really just using the black vote. This to me seems like a little bit of a fear of what's coming down the pipeline. A lot of black folks leaving that party already. So this kind of secures a lot of what they already know, the writings on the wall when it comes to, your political careers. Now it's time to kind of put up or shut up and stop using the same bullshit every single time. Race baiting politics is over. Police brutality, all those different things is over. With all the crime rate that's going on, and black folks are standing around like, wait, hold on, wait a minute. What, defund the police? These motherfuckers done stole my Cadillac converter 3 times this week. Like, crime is a problem, and they're losing that argument. They're losing it, and they see that whatever's coming up this November. This to me is just fear, and this is what happens when a party doesn't have their shit together.
To me, it's just BS in the background.
Yeah, it's bull. Yes, it's bull crap. It's definitely bullshit in the background. But again, these people know that the power that they receive. First of all, a Democratic county executive is like as foreign as somebody from North Korea coming here. Like, we don't have that long. Like, how many Democratic county executives ran Monroe County? Not that many.
Democrat?
Yeah, Democrat. Who's the last one?
Bello was the first one in like past 50 years?
Right. So when you get a taste of that power, and you got a lot of
and it was because the law enforcement did not vote.
Oh, well, they're voting
because the previous person treated them poorly when it came to union negotiations. And so they didn't vote for that person.
So within everything that has happened, right? And I mean, again, I've yet to kind of even see Bello create or say, anything that you can say it was something that the black, and again, I trust me, when I say black community, me personally, I don't even like to use that as a term, but there's nothing that was said or done that would give me any type of confidence in his ability to lead anybody within the inner city.
But you gotta give him that the fact
I give him that he recognized that, absolutely,
because the Democratic, the Democrats are the Democratic caucus, which are the minority leaders right now, because legislator Lamar sided with Republicans in order to become the president of the county legislature. They did come out with their press release. That was a press release that you had before. Can you pull that one up? We'll go over that one really quickly, so we can show you what the current Democratic leadership are saying. Yes, that one. Yep. Democrats address troubling misinformation about proposed legislative district map. So this is just so that you have the information so you can make your own decisions. I'm not trying to tell you how to think about any of this. You decide for yourself. It said, this is from September 22nd. All right. Today, Democrats held a press conference addressing a redistricting map created by Rachel Barnhart and the GOP that is being paraded as a full-fledged bipartisan effort. This map was never agreed upon by the Democratic caucus leadership. The proposed map presented on September 6th to the Monroe County Legislature by President Lamar and Legislator Barnhart unfairly packs minorities, specifically black voters, into districts that already have a long history of electing black and Latino officials. In fact, the Barnhart GOP map changes Legislative District 21, which is Legislator Barnhart's district, from a majority-minority district to one that is over 60% white voting age population.
So she wants to keep her spot, huh?
Well, to be fair, I'm going to tell you what. I reached out to County Legislator Barnhart, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to be discussing this. I would love for you to have your input on it as well. I even invited her to come sit down and talk to us so that she
That
can
won't
have.
happen.
She was open to it,
Oh, okay.
possibly.
Possibly. It's a start.
What she did say was, let me pull that up. The only thing I would add is it's our jobs to work together to do a map, and I encourage all of us to sit down and work it out.
But what's wrong with what we have now, though? Seriously.
Well, we have to redistrict. It's a given, and considering that the Democrats have power over the county, well, I'm sorry, really Republicans still have power over the county because Legislator Lamar is teamed up with them. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying it as in she made a political decision to work with the Republicans to become the president of the legislative board. But then we have a Democratic Adam Bello leader of the county. So it's kind of like this still. Adam Bello won, but Republicans kind of have power.
Yeah. It's
And
like a stalemate.
They're
right now.
trying to use it to pack in what seems like they're trying to work the race route to pack in the black vote to dilute the voting power so that the white districts, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say white districts, the suburban districts or districts that tend to vote a certain type of way will stay that way.
Yeah.
So you make the decision on yourself because, again, I don't believe most people understand any of this. I'm still learning about it. I literally, this week was when I was discussing this because it's still on the news. And I'm sitting there saying, I'm in politics. And I don't even get what the heck they're talking about. The only thing that jumped out to me was the fact that faith leaders were coming out and talking about how we need to pack in the black vote and that they need to have representation. I'm sitting there on a city council of majority black people with a mayor that's black, and I'm sitting there saying, what are we talking about right now?
You know how many times we said this on the show, bro? Like, does
I need a drink
when there's always this racial argument, especially in the city of Rochester, like how ignorant are you? Are you looking around? Do you know your history? You know where you come from? Do you know where you came from? Do you know that? Just like you said, have you ever gone to a city council hearing and if you looked around in the room, there's a lot of black and brown faces within there, right? Starting from the mayor and his group. I'm pretty sure them
on the dais.
Yes.
And over in administration.
Yes. And then when you look at the city council members, there's black and brown represented all the way through. This is like the most united freaking city that like within the country, bro. Like,
but yet somehow
there's still problems.
Somehow they're talking about Voting Rights Act.
They're just
of
ignorant,
1965.
Man. They're doing the work of somebody else. They're doing the work of someone else. And
that's just again, this is just you make the decision. You tell me what your thoughts are because I'm just saying out loud what my thoughts are. And to me, when you bring up the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to compare that to right now, and I'm sitting there like, what?
Communism, Marxism, it's the same tactics, the same ideology. Back in the 60s, bro, that communist movement was so huge and so like kind of under the table, and folks didn't know like a lot of these social, arguments and fights, that was all based around Marxism. The main leader during that time was W.E.B. Du Bois, who was the main freaking Marxist.
That's your boy.
I can't stand that guy, but a lot of people, but again, his ideology is still being used today by a lot of black leaders, especially those religious leaders who feel as though that, okay, I take this stance. I'm pretty sure they all have his book on their mantle.
They went to college.
Yes, they went to college.
Within the past 15, 20 years.
The best way to brainwash a people is to do just that. Introduce them to Marxism. That's why China is so fucking successful with brainwashing their people. They're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing to African Americans in this country. They are. They're just brainwashing them in a different way and create this distraction that you can't do anything unless a white man says it's okay. That's literally just racism right there.
And then we have the sexism part. I was driving down 490 or something like that, and there was a billboard that said that women retire with 30% less retirement and men. And I'm sitting there saying, this is where we're going now?
Yeah. They won't
This is where
stop
we're
at
going now?
nothing, bro.
It has to be. It's not. Whenever anyone says, I even said back to one of the legislators, I'm like, are we talking about diversity here? Because it doesn't seem like we're talking about diversity. Are we talking about inclusion here? Because it doesn't seem like we're talking about inclusion here.
No.
But yet they scream it from the mountaintops. Diversity, equity, inclusion.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it,
they don't even know what it is, bro.
Not just that. I'm for those of you out there who follow me, I'm putting together a meet and greet, which I hope you come to. Meet and greet for LeBron Singletary on Friday. I support LeBron because I know him personally. He is a friend of mine. I've had drinks with him. We've shared nights of having just good old time as two men being out, usually at Taste of Bahamas, just having fun, man. Just
how dare you?
Yeah, politicians aren't allowed to have fun, right?
Yeah.
So I know him personally. I've had conversations with Joe Morelli, Congressman Morelli. He's the type of person that, and I know this type because there's quite a few of them, that they'll be talking to you, and this isn't a knock on any physical deformities. He'll talk to you, but he'll be looking past you. You know how when someone's talking to you and it seems like they're looking for a way out?
Yeah.
Like that's the type of conversations that I have with certain people. What I know, it's not that they don't like me. It's just that I'm not important.
You're not there. You're not. Yeah.
I'm not at their level. So
yeah.
to
Adam
me, that's
McFadden
a
did that to
problem.
me.
Oh,
He did that to me.
man, he would
Big
come in.
time.
He would come into the bank, and I knew immediately. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh man, this
he's
guy
that
is.
type.
I didn't even know he was a councilman until I was like, man, that guy's.
But he's a black politician that made it because.
But he was powerful.
He was.
He was powerful, and I respect that.
But at the same time, though, again, it goes back to how great this country is. You have opportunity. First of all, you black folks is up there trying to, completely marginalize us into just one vote. You're being told that by some other, like somebody else is kind of creating that
President Biden, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
You ain't black. Type
That's
shit.
exactly that culminates it immediately right there. You see any of those on the street videos where they say, oh, we're going to give you some statements that have been said by a politician. You let us know from a rating of 1 to 10 how racist it is. 1 being not racist, 10 being very racist. And then that was one of them. Like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And they were like, oh, that's racist as hell. They're like, yeah, Joe Biden said that. And it was like all black people like, what?
Listen, black folks, y'all have nothing to worry about, nothing to fear. Stop playing the victim. Get your ass up. Do something. Do something for yourself that's good for your family. And do it without fucking fear that somebody white is going to do something to you.
I'm going to go deeper than that. This is what you should. All right, we're coming up to a New Year's pretty soon, right? I don't ever care about New Year's. I care about my birthday. My birthday is my New Year, and I usually take some trip or I do something where I just like escape from everything, and I say, all right, what does this year going to look for Jose? I don't say year. This is my level. I'm level 41. What does level 41 look like for Jose? I implore the people out there. I'm talking to you guys out there. I implore you.
Talking to the people,
right? Turn off the TV, turn off social media, turn off your phone. Don't look at it. Once you come home from work, follow up on some stuff because you still have to have a little bit of fun, right? I get it. Like I get it. Turn it off and go get a book from the library about something that you believe you want to learn so that you could be more proficient at. Read once a week for 1 month. That's it. Do not read any more books than 4 books in 1 month. That's it on one topic. Let's say it's woodwork. Let's say it's coding. Let's say it's online marketing, whatever it may be. Learn it from a book or online or on a freaking ebook, whatever it might be. I suggest an actual book though for 1 month. And then take the next month and go do it. Whether you do it on your own or you find somebody that does it currently and simply say, I have a vested interest in learning about this. I want to learn how to do it from not just the book perspective, but in real life perspective. And talk to that person and take them out for lunch. Take them out to dinner. I don't care. It could be a steak freaking dinner. That $100 steak dinner that you paid for that man to teach you about how to create funnels on social media, to connect to your online portal, to create a list so that you can get the exact person that you want to pay for your service is worth way more than $100 steak dinner. 1 month to read and learn on your own. 1 month to go and do it. 1 month to go and do it on your own and make mistakes. Just understand that it's going to cost you between the books, which is free because the library is free. This doing it is going to cost you what? A dinner to say, hey, can I just take you? I just want to learn from you. I'm going to work for you for free. Let me just kind of shadow you maybe. Trust me, there's a lot of people. If one person says no, there'll be another person that says yes. And then go and do it and mess up, make mistakes. So we're talking about just 1 quarter out of the entire year where you dedicated to learning how to create funnel leads. I say funnel leads because that's one of the, you can make a lot of money doing funnel leads. And then you go sell that service. You go out and say, I see you have a website. I see you have a service. Let me go ahead. I'm not going to charge you a single penny. I'm going to do the service for free. I'm only going to charge you when I create one person for you to call and set up an appointment and give a quote and you get paid. I only get paid when you get paid.
Let me ask you a question.
And you will change your life forever. Guaranteed.
Do you think when it comes to what people decide to do,
and none of that had to do with race.
No. That's what.
None of it had to do with age.
Bro, see, you just obliterated my question, right?
My bad.
Because that's where my question was going. It's like, okay, what do you think it takes for a person to make that decision, right? Like, what's stopping you from it? For folks who are, African American. So you mean to tell me what's stopping you from making that decision is what you think or what you believe someone else is not allowing you to do? Bro, that's it. That is.
I know your mentor is a white guy.
Yeah.
My mentor was a black man.
Go figure, right? Go figure. And the things that we had to do in order to kind of allow ourselves to kind of, take that mentorship is to not be ignorant and say, okay, this white Italian, right, is not going to literally befriend me and be somebody that is like, I can call at any time, like, boom, this is what you need to do. I'm here for you. Don't worry about it, bro. And with those stories, right?
Well, you got
how hypocritical would we be? Too. Yeah, exactly. You have to. How hypocritical would we be if we know that value that person gave to me? Like, you know what? All people are that way, or there is, this ceiling that I can't do. Like, yo, it happened.
There's very few people who have made it out there who are not willing to lend that hand behind them and say, you know what? I can teach one person to do what I just did. I guarantee you, they want to do that. They want to say, I helped get that person to where they are.
Hey, send a shout out Mr. Joe Byron, right? Remember he said black people don't have the representation and the ability to get attorneys, right? Just before, like, my attorney just sent me a lead.
Or an ID card.
Yeah, an ID card. Well, my white attorney just sent me a lead on a house that's in this area that's, worth thousands of dollars. Like, hey, listen, this is a house, check it out. And I can find you financing. What? Can you really? Holy shit. I'm a black guy in America. I can't do anything.
The accents. I never know where the accents come from. It's always way off.
I can't do anything, Captain.
But
I can't do it, Captain.
You came to this podcast and you see, if you watch the videos, you see a Latino, you see a black man, and I don't think you should see that. I think you should see two.
What color is Austin though? No
one shall ever know.
No, you don't know.
Yeah, it's a real mystery.
That right there. You see where it turned? You saw that?
Don't look at my thumb. Don't even
look at that thumb, right?
Don't even worry about it.
We don't know what's outside of that.
But just people trust us.
Open up your mind, man, and
Stop
stop
listening.
listening to they.
Stop listening to
We
them.
don't know who the fuck they is. Whenever
And don't
they-
listen to us.
Don't listen, right? But when they say
Try
when you
it
say
out.
they, when you hear something from they, just be like, yo, I ain't listening to they. Fuck what they talking about.
But you can listen to them and stay where you are, or you can listen to us and do it for
Mhm.
again just 1 quarter. See what happens.
Yeah.
What you're doing right now, if you're already thinking about it, if you're thinking about it right now, that means what you're doing right now is not working.
Yeah.
That means you need to change it up and do something different. Simple as that. If you need to just reach out to somebody and say, let me learn from you.
Yeah.
Let me bounce a couple questions off of you. I won't freaking be a jerk and call you every single day. Or I'm just gonna say, if I come across something next week and I have some questions, I hope that you're there for me. Just to answer some questions real quick, no more than 5 minutes. I'm really just trying to do my best to do what's right for my family. There's not gonna be many people out there who are gonna say, no, don't call me. They're gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna see how you are. I'm gonna see where you go with this. I'm gonna see how you are after this conversation. And if something comes up in the next month, I'd be very happy to see that.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see you do something in the next month. But if you don't, then you're gonna be right where you are right now.
It's
So
on
why
you.
not do something different?
It's on you, bro. It's on you. Stop playing victim. I am so sick of the victim. Like, you can't be a strong, group, a strong demographic, but playing a victim all the fucking time.
You can't call yourself a man
You can't. You're like,
and be a victim.
man, yo, bro, I can't do nothing, man, because the man won't let me do it.
Then you ain't a man. Then you a
ain't
boy.
no man.
Then you're a boy.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, man. Fuck that.
You know who's not a boy?
My boy,
Kanye West.
my boy, bro, my boy.
Kanye West out there buying Parlor. That's how
Good
I'm gonna
for
bring.
him.
That's how I'm gonna bring up Kanye. You don't have
Good
to
for
actually
him.
bring up the article, but Kanye West out there buying Parlor. Elon Musk out there buying Twitter. Donald Trump out there starting Truth Social. You can say whatever you want about all three of those being
Mhm.
far right conspiracy theory places.
Yeah,
But if I can go on there and say that
Allegedly.
the vaccines did not do what they said, what the vast majority of doctors and politicians said they were going to do, then maybe we shouldn't have done what we did. And maybe we should have listened to Governor Ron DeSantis and saw how he ran Florida and see how Florida is flourishing right now while states like New York and California are dying.
surplus.
I can say that on that,
Mhm.
but I couldn't say that on Zuckerberg's or
Yeah,
the
YouTube.
tweets.
You couldn't say it on YouTube
couldn't
either.
say any of that. That's why I have to keep using.
Quick.
Allegedly.
As long as I
Yeah,
keep
man.
using that, they're not gonna. They can't censor
They
us.
can't censor you, right?
Right? How messed up is that? But
Yeah.
either way. But if you're John Leguizamo, you can say whatever the hell you want to say.
You almost dropped it.
I'm trying. My sister yelled at me. My sister said she wants my nephews to watch the podcast.
Oh, so we gotta clean
And
up for the
so
nephews.
I'm trying to clean it up. From my mom told me before, and I was like, Mom, that's just who we
She
are.
came on. She got on me too.
But then my sister said it about how she wants to be able to listen to this in front of my nephews. I was like, all right.
In our defense, we've definitely
Alright,
gotten
yeah.
better, and
Oh, I've gotten better. I don't know about you.
oh, I've gotten a
I
little
don't-
bit better.
Could you hit that center button on the?
Oh,
Oh no, never mind. That was not the one.
That was- we had to leave.
Yeah.
Listen,
God
fucking damn.
there it is.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah, that one was.
Yay.
Yeah, that one right
We
there.
might have to
would be
erase that
classic.
one. Sorry, Francis.
Definitely classic.
All right. 8:30 on the dot. I appreciate you all coming out here and listening to us. I hope you learned something about gerrymandering, about redistricting. I hope you learn for yourself. Go out there and read for yourself, because what we say here, look, he has his own point of views. I have my own point of views. Austin is a crazy left-wing nut. He has his own point of views.
Yep, that's me.
He doesn't
Call
even
me.
believe in God.
He doesn't even
man.
believe in God.
He don't even believe in
That's
God.
that's why I'm because I'm such a crazy liberal.
You're crazy liberal.
Yeah.
So I implore you, don't just listen to us, and I implore you, don't just listen to anything on TV.
Oh, please.
Go do your own. I don't want to say your own research.
Don't listen to anything
Go
Don
be your
Lemon
own man.
says.
Just go be your own man. Just go be your own man, just like we are. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate Lavelle being my co-host. Appreciate Austin always being there.
We appreciate you, Jose.
Thanks. I appreciate me too.
You're welcome. Hit that funky music.